Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who Big Finish video. In today's Doctor Who Big Finish video I'll be taking a look at the first main range story and sort of the beginning of the end of the main range for 2021, and as of course Colony of Fear, starring the 6th Doctor and Constance Clark. So yeah, like I said, this is the beginning of the end of the main range. This is the one of 3 main range releases of 2021 before the main range draws to a close this year. But me and my friend Luke did a massive Big Finish live stream talking about sort of Big Finish releases of 2021, sort of covering all the releases that we know of and discussing, you know, what releases we're looking forward to picking up throughout this year. I'll leave a little card thing there so you can check it out. It's 3 hours long. It's 3 hours of Big Finish goodness, so what more could you want? So yeah, this review, I'm going to take a look at the presentation of the CD, then give you my thoughts on the story. So without further ado, let's look at the presentation for Colony of Fear. So taking a look at the cover art for Colony of Fear. Now I have to say that I love this cover. It does remind me of like an early Big Finish main range cover, so sort of like the 51 to 100 area sort of cover art you would get. It does look absolutely stunning. So we've got the great sort of jungle background there, the TARDIS, the 6th Doctor looking very concerned. We've got the Trinaxians, the sort of alien threat within this story. Then we have the actual colony base there with the sort of barrier shield up there, Colony of Fear by Roland Moore. The side of the release. And the back of the release there, so if you want to know more about the story, then do feel free to pause. And then we have the cast list, and the total running time being 120 minutes. So taking a look at the leaflet, so if we open it up, we have production credits for this release there, advertisement for Doctor Who magazine, and a cast photo of Miranda Rayson and Colin Baker, and the next instalment in the main range for Blazing Hour, which is out now actually. It could be the next Big Finish review I do. And then we have the reverse cover there with the Colin Baker era logo if you want to change it. And the disc art is exactly the same for both discs. Colony of Fear, the story what kicks off the main range off in its final year. Now Roland Moore for me is a very solid writer from The Night Witches, which is a fantastic historical story to the 8th Doctor Time War, and of course Memories of a Tyrant, a brilliant 6th Doctor story. So he can definitely write for this 6th Doctor. So does Roland Moore start the end of the beginning of the main range to a brilliant start. Part 1. So we have quite a bleak start to this story, with some of the colonists being in this sort of coma caused by these insect creatures, by the venom, with the medical staff slowly reviving the colonists, with 14 members recovered and another 22 in a catatonic state. But we also set up the main mystery. Aside from, you know, these insects, you have, you know, what's so special about this security footage and who is returning. So we set up the supporting characters rather well, with the colony leader beginning one of his bug hunts to capture one of the insect sort of wasp creatures to analyse. And this is when the Doctor and Constance arrive, you know, here to answer a distress call. And I feel like this is very early on in the 6th Doctor and Constance's travels, as we have Constance wanting reassurance from the Doctor about her safety, which to me feels a little bit out of character for Constance, because Constance is the type of character who just throws herself into the situation and just, you know, is very hands-on. So it seems a little bit out of place for Constance to sort of act like that for me personally. But we do have some lovely interactions between the 6th Doctor and Constance, especially Constance being in awe of this alien planet, you know, and just saying to the Doctor, look, can we not talk about the metric system and how far we have to walk to get to the distress signal? Can we just admire this planet, you know, the soil of this planet being sort of a purple colour, the vibrant red sun, and the vegetation smelling like cinnamon. So it's very striking imagery, what causes you to really imagine this world, what Roland Moore's created. So the world building for this is fantastic. But it's not long before the Doctor and Constance come face to face with the enemy, the alien hornets, leading to an intriguing moment that the Doctor can hear the alien hornets trying to assess if the Doctor and Constance are a threat, leading to a very tense moment with the bug hunting party finding the Doctor and Constance, leading them to get rid of one of the hornets on the Doctor's back and take it back to be analysed. So they go back to the facility to examine the creature, and we learn the backstory of the hornet creature, that they've only just arrived with the sort of colony leader Mollis sending a distress signal because they thought they would be overrun by the hornet creatures, as we learn the purpose of this colony to be a frontier town, with them carrying out pharmaceutical research. And we begin to examine the hornet what was captured, with us finding out that the people in a coma have no ill effects from the sting. This leads the Doctor to begin his investigations with who brought the hornet creatures here, as we explore the spaceship what could hold all the answers. Whilst that happens, Constance has a shocking discovery with the security footage, as it is a blue box, and having Constance question, you know, that's not where the TARDIS is on this planet. Whilst the Doctor encounters a creature he recognises, which is an okay way to end the episode, but I think the revelation of the blue box on the planet has more weight than what the actual story decides to conclude with the Doctor. I feel like the constant revelation of, oh, that's the TARDIS, but I don't remember the TARDIS being in that place on the planet. I feel like that has more weight to be the cliffhanger than what happens to the Doctor in the end of part 1. So part 2, we have the creature reveal what the Doctor recognises. Now this part to me does remind me a little bit of Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, as we find out that this crashed spaceship holds a load of different life support systems for various creatures who are endangered, leading the Doctor to question, who flew this ship, as they search for the pilot. And we continue to learn what research this pharmacists are doing, with them trying to weaponise the venom, with Constance beginning her own detective work with her sort of researching the sort of security footage. So this part does allow Constance to shine, and we do sort of begin sort of the base under siege feel to this story, with the Hornets begin to start attacking the base as we learn the Hornets' names, the Tractions. And this is when we learn the true horror of their sting, as we encounter the pilot, as we learn how dangerous the Tractions actually are. And they seem very sort of Wirren-like in what they do, as we learn what power the Tractions have over the colonists, which leads to a very grim reality of the future of the colony, as the mystery deepens with the security footage and the Doctor starts formulating a plan. But the pilot, now known as the Collector, we learn that he is a time traveller, leading to a very interesting cliffhanger full of mystery, making you want to dive straight into part 3. Part 3, so who is this mysterious Collector, as it is a race against time, with the Doctor trying to find an antidote to the venom as attractions begin to activate the colonists. So this becomes very much the base under siege story. This is when we really get to explore that base under siege threat, and this is when Constance has a wonderful speech with the Doctor connecting to the Traction hive mind, wanting to learn what they want from the colonists. And this is when the Doctor sort of remembers who the Collector was, but when the Doctor's not in the hive mind, he doesn't remember who the Collector is. So that's a very interesting thing, because he thinks that the Time Lords have blocked his memories, as we learn when the Doctor first came to this planet and how the Collector ended up the way he did, as we learn of his past. And that is sort of the main twist of the story, because Roland Moore does like his big twists sort of in the middle of the story, like Memories of a Tyrant, and there's another big twist within that. And this sort of reminds me of that, because Roland Moore does love his big old twists, and this certainly does have a big old twist as the Wasps enter the colony building, leading to a very classic Doctor Who cliffhanger. Part 4, for a classic cliffhanger, we have a classic resolution, as this part is very much the action part, as we get some quite grotesque bits of body horror, with people transforming into the Traction. So this part is very bleak, and it has very much a no hope feel to it, so it is a very grim episode to listen to, with there being sort of no way out of this solution with the Tractions. So we sort of explore, why won't the Tractions hurt the Collector? And this story just has a very depressing ending, and the story does end on a lovely moment between the Doctor and Constance. But yeah, this part is where it gets pretty bleak, and has some great character moments between Mollis and the Collector, and it really explores an interesting theme with the 6th Doctor, which I'll talk about now actually when we look at the characters. So moving on to the characters now, the Doctor played by Colin Baker, a brilliant job as always. Colin does a fantastic job bringing us the more softer side to the 6th Doctor, but as the story progresses we get more of the traditional 6th Doctor from the TV era, with him being very forceful and quite stern. We have a great sort of curiosity to the 6th Doctor, with his sort of nature trying to uncover the mystery of the Traction, and obviously the whole mystery involving the Collector. And this story does test him, especially in the 2nd act, with the Doctor having to face his mistakes even though he can't remember the mistake that he made. So that's a very interesting idea to play with out of the story, and we do have a line at the beginning of the story that the Doctor likes to put things right, which I guess is a nice little bit of foreshadowing for what actually happens within the story, because, does the 6th Doctor make his past mistakes right? You'll have to find out whether he does rectify, his past mistakes within this story. Constance Clark, played by Miranda Rayson. Now she does a fantastic job as ever, and what a joy it is to see her enjoy being on a new world, which I think is great to go back to the start of the 6th Doctor and Constance travels, and they have some lovely moments throughout it. And I think that the issue this story raises for a companion is definitely a good issue to raise, especially with this being sort of the start of Constance's journey as a companion. So I feel like there is a great sort of theme explored for in this, especially with Constance, with the companion. But I do feel like Constance is a little late addition to the script. It does feel like Constance was a bit of an afterthought within this story, personally. Especially at the start, like I said, because Constance seems a little bit off, you know, a little bit out of character. But as the story goes on, I feel like Roland more, you know, writes Constance, as we all know and love, with that sort of steely determination to help and make a difference. So I really do like that. So I really do like the characterisation of Constance as the story progresses. I feel like it just gets stronger and stronger. Mollis, played by Nicholas Ashbury, a good performance playing the colony leader who's troubled by the Tractions, a stern leader who just wants to get his colony back to normal and just fulfil his duty while he's here. And his character goes on a very interesting journey, especially in the latter half of the story. Which has some fantastic rich character moments for his character, which I really do like. It really does explore his character, especially towards the end of the story. Then the Collector, played by Edwin Pugh, a wonderful performance with his very taunting character, a character full of mystery and a little bit bonkers, full of energy. So you definitely, you know, want to find out the mystery of his character, because he gives a very engaging performance with that sort of high energy to the character. So I really do like the performance Edwin Pugh gives as the Collector. So what are my overall thoughts on Colony of Fear? Well, it has its moments of brilliance and it is a solid adventure. It just has so many different ideas what just don't seem to fit together, because it has a very interesting mystery with the Collector and how that links with the Doctor. So it wants to be this sort of exploration of the Doctor with this massive twist, but the story also wants to be a base under siege story with humans versus bugs. It just doesn't seem to work for me when you put it all together. Like the structure of the end of part 1, I feel like the security footage of the TARDIS reveal has more weight to end the part than the way the part actually ends. So I feel like it just boils down to the ideas overlapping with each other and each idea fighting to be the main plot thread. The world building is excellent. I really do like the world building within this story. The Tractions are an interesting idea, you know, and the characters are all well written and the characters go on their own little journey, which is fantastic. But if you love stories like Kinder and Dinosaurs on the Spaceship and The Ark in Space, then you'll definitely want to consider getting this one, because it has some very interesting ideas. But sadly for me, this story does feel very much like a middle of the road adventure. Great ideas in their own right, but just not all together. So I'm going to give Colony of Fear a rather fitting 6 out of 10. I think that it has some wonderful ideas, like I said, but I just feel like the ideas are just sort of fighting to be the main plot thread. So it does seem a little bit messy at times with the ideas overlapping and trying to link them together. But at the core of it, it does have a very good mystery, a great exploration of the Doctor's character. You know, can he fix past mistakes, what he doesn't remember, and the sort of ideas and themes it brings up for companions is a very interesting idea, and I really do like that exploration. It's just sadly that the ideas don't quite gel, but it's an enjoyable story. And like I said, it's a 6 out of 10 for me. So thank you very much for watching this Big Finish review. If you've enjoyed this, then please do give it a like, and if you want to see more Big Finish related content, then please do check out my Big Finish reviewing playlist, and do feel free to subscribe for more Big Finish related content. So thank you very much for watching this review, and I'll see you next time in my next Big Finish review, whatever that will be. It could be The Blazing Hour or the 4th Doctor Adventures Series 10 or Genetics of the Daleks. So yes, thank you very much for watching this review, and I'll see you next time for more Doctor Who related content.